Okay, well, here we are. We are now live on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And now we're live on Spreaker. So hello to all you fine, beautiful folks there. And let me go on Facebook to open it up. And let me do that. You know, I noticed that it's kind of a dark screen on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Let me just turn this light on because I noticed it's kind of dark. Kind of dark. There we go. I add a little light. Add a little light to it. Add a little light to the conversation. All right, so let me just go into my Facebook and open it up for everybody because if I don't, people on Facebook can't see it. I don't know why it does that. But anyway, there we go. Change, and now we are live. All right, everybody, I'm Bishop Long with the, I tell you what, it's Friday with the Paranormal Friday show. So welcome to the Sacred Division. This is really what I call the show. I've done this 20 years now. 2003, I actually started when online radio was in its infancy. And so in 2003, that's when I started the Sacred Division Paranormal Show. And it's, you know, I've been on, I tell you what, we've done so many shows, had so many guests. It's been pretty cool. Okay, first of all, let me just say a couple things. Let's get some business part out of the way. I want you to go to our sponsors show. It is kgradb.com. KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. Now, I want you to make sure you subscribe to that channel. They have some phenomenal shows there. And yep, this show airs there as well. I'm honored to be a part of the family. However, when you subscribe, make sure you put Bishop as your promo code because you're going to get 30% off your subscription. Why not? I mean, if you're going to save 30% off, save 30% off. So make sure you go kgradb.com. Okay, my website, if you want to know, is bishopjameslong.com. Pretty simple. bishopjameslong.com. And of course, if you want to go to the church's website, it's usocc.org. So that is the fun-filled, exciting shows for the night and or for the URLs. And here we go. You know, people always ask me about the paranormal and why do you like the paranormal and why do you serve the paranormal community? I do it because no one would. You have to understand that back in over 20 years ago, nobody was helping the paranormal community. No clergy was actively helping the paranormal at all. I was there. It was me and Father Andrew Calder. And people in the paranormal community, the paranormal teams, they couldn't get anybody to help them. They couldn't get clergy because no one wanted really to be associated with the paranormal because then they'd be identified as like ghost chasers. And clergy really didn't want, and I understand that. I get it. But at the same time, I knew that something had to be done. I had to help. So that I went public with the ministry then, and I've been doing it ever since. So it is, well, it is a clown. I can't get it because I didn't have that prepared. Maybe next week we'll do that. But so this is, I love the paranormal because it's unknown. It is the unknown. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Nothing at all. Some people have a problem with it. Well, that's fine. You have a problem with it. I don't. Everybody has their own preferences and likes and what they enjoy. I love the paranormal. I love helping the paranormal community. So that is what the show is called, The Sacred Division. And I came up with the name over 20 years ago, obviously, The Sacred Division, to divide the good from the evil. And so there we go. That's it. That's how that people was asking, how did you come up with the show, the Sacred Division Radio? Well, that's how it was, because it's dividing the good from the evil. Tonight is Paranormal Friday night. Paranormal, wherever you are, I hope that you're having a beautiful, beautiful Friday, wherever it is. Let's certainly keep all your, the thoughts and prayers to all the folks in Hawaii. Goodness gracious, that terrible fire that they're having over there. Let's definitely keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And so we need to. We also need to remember that there's a lot of people out there, folks, who are going through some serious stuff right now, serious demonic issues. And people ask me, we'll get to the topic in just a second. People ask me a lot, why is it that I did so many of the shows, the History Channel, the Travel Channel, the National Geographic, all that. The reason is I did that. I wasn't paid. For any of those the shows that I did. Now, of course, on the Travel Channel, the new show, that was a bit different, but the pay was very, very minimal, and that's fine. I didn't do it for the pay. I did it because I want to let people know that you're not alone, that there are people out there that will listen to you. There are clergy that will listen to you. That without judgment, without condemnation. And I think that's one of the reasons why I did so many of the shows. The Ghost Adventures, the history, the National Geographic, because I wanted to let people know there are clergy out there that's listening. I've never been to Hawaii, never been to Hawaii, but it certainly is. I've heard it's a beautiful location, but I've never been. Okay. Yeah, William, I don't know if there's going to be a second season on the Eli Roth Presents Legion of Exorcists show. I don't know. We have not been told. Unfortunately, they're having in Hollywood, they're having this strike. So we just, we don't know. It did pretty well in the ratings, and there's a lot of people had some really great feedback on the show. I love doing the show. The show was a lot of fun. And I think they did a tremendous job. The director of the show did just a phenomenal job, because you got to remember, I mean, he was working with clergy. We're not people. We're not trained actors. So he was working with clergy, and how do you do that? And how are you able to tell a story that's captivating? That's frightening. Well, thank you very much. That's scary. And he did a fantastic job. So there we go. All right. Tonight's so here's how I do the show. For those of you who've never been to the show before, never seen the Sacred Division, this is how I do it. On the first hour, I have a topic, something that's related to the paranormal, supernatural, horror genre. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I take your questions. And this is we've been doing this for quite some time, and we'll keep doing it. We'll keep on rocking and rolling. Now, by the way, I want to remind everybody that I will be having some really fantastic guests on. That this is confirmed, by the way, on the 25th. The 25th, I will have on my friends Midnight Syndicate. If you have never heard of Midnight Syndicate, I strongly encourage you to go on YouTube and listen to some of their music. Their music is spectacular. It is spectacular. And so I encourage you to do that. So I've had them on for quite some time. I support them strongly. I've supported them for 15 years now. Their music, it's wonderful. Midnight Syndicate, SYNDICATE. That's how you spell the Syndicate, the last name. But just type in Midnight Syndicate. They have a brand new album coming out, so we'll be talking about that as well. They are awesome. I agree. Ed and Gavin are phenomenal. They're unbelievably talented people. And so we'll have them as special guests on the 25th. And hopefully, since we'll be streaming live on Facebook and YouTube, hopefully Facebook and YouTube doesn't ban me I'm serious. I guarantee you watch. Facebook and YouTube is going to ban me, saying that it's copyright violation when I actually have the owners of Midnight Syndicate on with me. So you watch. I'll get flagged for it. But anyway, we will have them on, and I want to. And for those of you who are being rude, you're going to be blocked, and I'll pray for you because you're a very nasty human being. There, okay. Terrible, making really disrespectful comments. Yeah, block anybody comes in and does that. Just block them. I won't. Look, trolls, you're not going to get my attention. So if you're on TikTok and you want to troll just to get attention, you're wasting your time. I will not pay any attention to you at all. Literally none. So I'm just giving you a heads up. You'll only be blocked. You'll be completely ignored. Okay. There we go. Order of St. Benedict is the OSB. Okay, yeah, I have zero tolerance. I'm not going to tolerate people coming in and being nasty and saying very disrespectful things. I don't do that to anybody, and I'm not going to allow them to do that to me or anybody else here. We try to present a show that's respectful, that's kind, and that's how it's going to be. And people who want to troll will just be blocked. We're not in middle school. People act like they're in middle school. I don't know what's going on in this world, but we just simply don't play those games. Tonight's topic: horror movies that are based on real life stories. Well, I thank you very much. I appreciate that, Tulsa Aaron. That is, many times people go to the movie theater, or they rent a movie or streaming or whatever, because they want to kind of escape and they want to enjoy a good, scary movie. So let me just say a couple of things, because people inevitably are going to ask, do you think watching a horror movie is going to cause you to be possessed? The answer is no. Because, and here's why. If the argument is that you watching a horror movie is going to cause you to be possessed, then every single person who has watched a horror movie would be possessed. So it's completely illogical. Now, can it influence? Certainly. Yeah. And it has. There are movies there are demonic movies out there where people, unfortunately, they invoke demonic names. They do rituals in the movie. That is irresponsible. That I don't like that at all. That should not be done. Or they glorify demons as if they're going to be your best buddies. Let me just say this. Anyone who tells you that you're going to change the nature of a demon, I'm telling you, they have never studied demonology a day in their life. They have no idea what they're talking about. They are leading you astray. Thank you very much. They are leading you astray. There's no such thing as changing the nature of a demon. That's absurd. That is truly absurd. They were in the very presence of God. And yet they rejected God fully and completely. And yet somehow we think that we have the ability to change the nature of a demon when God does not. That's ego. So I'm letting you guys very, very right now, stay away from anybody. Stay away from anyone who tells you that you're going to change the nature of a demon. You will not. That's a lie. That is and quite honestly, they're not trained and they have no business teaching about demonology because they have no theological training at all. So people can give you an opinion, but that doesn't make it a fact. And also, how have I lost a lot of weight? Well, I exercise. I work out 5 days a week. No, not actually every day. I walk 5 miles a day, every single day, 5 miles a day. I cut out sugar. I cut out carbs, and I drink lots and lots and lots of water. Lots of water, vitamins, and I work. It's every day. It's work. I get out there. I walk my 5 miles and cut the carbs, cut the sugar. Completely changed my entire life. And that's how I did it. So yeah, it is certainly it's a lot of weight, but just be careful about anybody trying to convince you can change the nature of a demon. Be careful about associating with anybody who tells you that the demons are going to help you. The demons are not going to help you. They will not help you. They have no desire to help you. That actually goes all the way back from the Lesser Key of Solomon. And so again, just stay away. Okay, folks, I'll get to your questions. I'll get to your paranormal questions. I promise you, there's a lot of people asking questions. I'll get to them, but we're going to do that at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? So moderators on TikTok, just remind people. I agree. There's no such thing demon can help you. That's amen to that, Angela. So just moderators, just remind people, if you would, in the chat, that we'll get you the questions at 8 p.m. Okay? Let's get into our topic for the night, horror movies. There's a lot of horror movies out there, but I got to tell you something. There's a lot of horror movies that are quite terrible, really, really terrible. This is by Lexi Perez. And she says, over the years, audiences have been frightened by the varied horror films on screen. And while after some jump scares, these audiences can be reminded it's only a film. However, things can take a dark turn when it's discovered the stories are actually based on real life events. That's kind of, when you think about that, it gets a little bit more frightening. Now, whether being terrorized by a knife-wielding killer or possessed by a demonic spirit, a variety of real-life crimes and events acted as inspiration for filmmakers and screenwriters who brought scary tales to life on screen. So let's talk a little bit about this. This gentleman, by the way, Mr. Producer, is going to call him on, I believe, Monday, you said, and he's going to try to get this individual live with us on the show as a special guest. And that individual is Travis Walton. I've had the opportunity to speak to Travis a couple of times. Great guy. Wonderful, wonderful guy. Travis Walton, for those of you who don't know, have you ever seen the movie called Fire in the Sky? It's a movie called in 1993. I encourage you, if you believe in aliens, an alien abduction, you need to check out the movie Fire in the Sky. It is insane, and it's based on a true story. Fire in the Sky retells the tale, the true story of Travis Walton, a man who claims to have been abducted by aliens on November the 5th, 1975, while heading home to Snowflake, Arizona, with a few colleagues and workers. Now, Walton was missing for 5 days before returning. He published his experience in a book called The Walton Experience, which was later republished entitled Fire in the Sky, following the release of the movie. They went out and they cut trees down, and so they were going home. So there were other people who witnessed this. This was not just Travis by himself. There are other witnesses who were there in the truck with him. And they absolutely saw what occurred. It is incredibly intense. No, people are asking me, do I believe aliens are demons? I do not. I think they are a complete different species. I just don't believe that they are demons. Look, here's the deal. We can argue, we can theorize about this all day long. But I have not found any correlation that would indicate to me that alien beings are in fact demons. Now, some people say, well, I just don't believe in aliens. Well, that's fine. You don't have to believe in aliens. But I will tell you this. Number one, we have, without question, there is something going on now, and we are inundated already everywhere, all over the news with UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. We clearly see this. We have pilots, trained pilots, captains, who've been captains for 30 years. And they are seeing metal objects in the sky that are moving in a way that we simply don't have the technology for. We just simply don't. These are trained pilots. So people say, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Well, it's fine. Well, have you ever been in this? Are you a pilot? Are you a captain? Are you in the Navy? Are you in the military? No, but I just don't believe it. Okay, but what about the people who are very credible, who have said that they absolutely have seen something and they have nothing to gain from it, everything to lose, because they could lose their credibility in the field, but yet they're willing to come out and speak about their experience because they've seen something that they can't explain. So people can say all day long to me, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That's fine. Then you have to go on the military. You have to look at the video. Then it becomes important for you to try to debunk the activity, because something is happening. And when you have pilots, when you have captains of 747 aircrafts who that's all they do is fly every single day, they are trained to be very observant. They are trained to be logical. And obviously visualization is very important. When they see an object in the sky that's metallic and they can't explain it, and it is moving in a direction that it's not a weather balloon. Look, folks, if you're a captain of a 747 and you've been a captain for 30 years and you don't know the difference between a metal object and a weather balloon, you shouldn't be flying a 747. I'm just saying. I'm really, come on. I mean, that's absurd. So there's something going on. There's something going on. 747s. Yeah, they're kind of, there's other aircrafts coming in, but I still like those 747s. I still like it. Okay. First of all, everybody listen to me very carefully. A lot of you are saying hello. I really do. Please understand, as I've said this all the time, I run the show on 3 computers. I have a computer here. I have a computer here. I have a computer here. So I'm not going to be able to look at every single comment. Okay. So just be patient. I'll take comments at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, we have. Thank you for the gifts, by the way, as well on TikTok. Those of you who are offering gifts to the ministry, I apologize if I've not said thank you personally. I apologize for that. And we are 45,000 likes already on TikTok right now, and we just started 20 minutes ago. That is phenomenal. You guys are awesome. I'll get to your questions in just a second. Of course, the next movie is the Amityville Horror, 1979 film. I knew Lorraine Warren. I did not get a chance to meet Ed. I had the opportunity several times to speak to Lorraine Warren about the Amityville Horror House. Let me tell you this. You could not pay Lorraine Warren $1 million for her to tell you that was fake. If I went to Lorraine and said, Lorraine, I'll pay you $1 million, just tell me it's fake, she would say no. Absolutely no. Now, I do believe that based on what I know behind the scenes, I believe George Lutz dabbled in some things that he shouldn't have dabbled into. And I absolutely believe that is where the invitation occurred. So for those of you who don't know, the Amityville Horror, 1979 film, it draws on the real experience of the Lutz family during the 28 days they spent in their Amityville, New York home at a 112 Ocean Avenue. 13 months before the family moved in, Roland DeFeo Jr. had murdered 6 members of his family in the house. And the Lutz's experience, of course, they bought the house at a very, very unbelievably cheap price because of that situation. Their experiences launched a series of books. It's the basis for 11 films. Now, Daniel Lutz, by the way, the eldest of the Lutz children, spoke about his experience publicly for the first time in the documentary called My Amityville Horror. So if you guys want to check that out, take a look at that. My Amityville Horror, which was released in 2012. There was Ryan Reynolds. I really like the Ryan Reynolds version. He did it. He starred in it, and that was a phenomenal. I thought he was great. Of course, I'm a big fan of Ryan Reynolds, but it's called My Amityville Horror. And that is when Daniel Lutz talks about the experience of what happened. I don't know anything about Super Chat. I'll have to figure that out. I don't know anything about Super Chats. Here's a movie that you probably didn't know that was loosely based on a true story. 1984, the movie called A Nightmare on Elm Street. I didn't know this. Wes Craven's 1984 slasher film centers on a killer who stalks his prey while they are sleeping. So in an interview with Vulture for the film's 30th anniversary, the late Craven shared that the film's premise was inspired by newspaper articles from the Los Angeles Times about a young male Southeast Asian refugee who died in their sleep. Many men would reportedly refuse to sleep because of the nightmares that they feared would lead to death, with a total of 26 men dying in their sleep in 1981. Isn't that crazy? Of course, Annabelle. Again, we know the story is a 2014. Annabelle, by the way, does not look like the real Annabelle. Does not look like the movie that you see. Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, and the cursed doll Annabelle was first introduced in the Conjuring movie in 2013. Later, the focus of a separate franchise with the films Annabelle, Annabelle Creation in 2017, and Annabelle Comes Home in 2019. As I mentioned, the doll is based off a Raggedy Ann doll that was gifted to a young nurse. But after a string of mysterious events occurred, including a traumatic experience with the nurse's boyfriend, the nurse and her friend invited a medium over who stated that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a deceased 7-year-old named Annabelle Higgins. Now, the doll, allegedly cursed by a demonic spirit, has been blamed for violent attacks and at least 2 near-death experiences. The allegedly Raggedy Ann doll is kept in the occult museum owned by the paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who have passed on, with the message under her glass case reading, "Warning, positively do not open." Regrettably, I was hoping to be able to get to the Warren Museum, but I thought that it just didn't work out because of scheduling. And right now, it's not even open, so you can't go there at all. Now, here's I have never been to this place. This is kind of like I think a neat place to go to. The movie is called Winchester. It's a 2018 film. Listen to this. This is really cool. Helen Mirren stars as Harris Sarah Winchester in the supernatural thriller directed by Michael and Peter Spierig. The 2018 film Winchester is based off the true story of the Winchester Mystery House. It's a historic landmark in San Jose, California, and the residence of the late Sarah Winchester. If you have not seen that movie, it's pretty fascinating. You see, the house has remained a mystery for its renovations and paranormal activity reportedly taking place there. See, after Winchester's infant daughter died of a childhood illness and her husband from tuberculosis, she moved to San Jose, where she began renovation on an 8-room farmhouse that continued up until her death in 1922. As detailed on the Winchester Mystery House's website, the house now has 160 rooms, including 40 bedrooms, 40 staircases, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, 10,000 window panes, 2,000 doors, 52 skylights, 47 fireplaces, 3 elevators, 2 basements, and just 1 shower. Tours are available to visitors. What's interesting is she built staircases. Well, hello, Jennifer. She built staircases that lead to nothing. I'm not kidding. You go up the stairs and there's no door. It dead ends. And the belief is that it would trick the ghosts, the spirits that haunted that house. And she thought that if you just, and sometimes you would open the door, there's a door, right? It could be on 3rd floor, and you open the door and there's a complete drop off. There's no room there. So in her mind, she thought that to create this pattern, this weird labyrinth, if you will, of a home, to where you walk up a staircase and you end up at the complete dead end. It's pretty amazing. It's called, the house again is Winchester, 2018. And again, folks, I have said it for a long time. I'll get your questions at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. Another movie is a 2014 movie called Deliver Us from Evil. Do you know that's based on a true story? Eric Bana, I think it's Bana is how you name, portrays a real New York cop, Ralph Sarchi, who encountered paranormal activity while working on crimes in the city. So and this is director Scott Derrickson's second film based on real events. So Deliver Us from Evil, it's a real, actually occurred. The Conjuring, of course, 2013, I mentioned that. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga play Ed and Lorraine Warren, a demonologist known for investigating the Lutz family. The Conjuring draws on a previous case of theirs that involved a creepy doll, Annabelle. I think they did a fantastic job. So if you have not seen that, check it out. Here's a movie in 2012 called The Possession. People ask me a lot about movies that are about possession, and thank you very much, and do I like them? I got to tell you something. A lot of movies with possession, I just don't like. I just don't. A lot of them are just junk. The Pope's Exorcist, based on Father Gabriel Morth's life. I've talked about this. I like the beginning, and I like the middle. The end was unbelievably stupid. Totally stupid. And matter of fact, I actually got up and left because I thought, okay, I can't watch this. This is too much. This is just no. They ruined it. I think so. So the movie called The Possession in 2012 is based on a alleged true story. The Possession originated from an eBay listing for a Dybbuk box, accompanied by a horror story written by its owner, Kevin Manis. In Hebrew folklore, allegedly a Dybbuk is a malicious spirit that has the ability to haunt and possess the living. Now, there's a lot of debate as far as a Dybbuk box and what they originally were for, as they were originally the wine cellar, really, or a wine cabinet. But there's the folklore is there. The movie, now this movie, I strongly encourage you to watch. If you want to know what it's like as an exorcist, what we go through, The Rite. You have to watch The Rite. It's 2011. It's actually based on Father Gary Thomas's life. Father Gary Thomas is a Roman Catholic priest in California, which I had him on the show here. And so it's based on his experience. Of course, it stars Anthony Hopkins. I think The Rite is truly probably one of the best, if not the best, when it comes to giving you an insight as far as through the eyes of an exorcist, the name of my book. And I think I really do believe that's what that. And yes, I am working on another demonology book. It's going to be very detailed, and it's going to be a while before I release it, but it will be released. So that's, by the way, that is The Rite is 2011. Father Gary Thomas, one of 14 Vatican certified exorcists working in the United States, he studied in Rome, and Thomas met journalist Matt Baglio, who wrote about Thomas's journey in The Rite. So pretty phenomenal movie. The Haunting in Connecticut, 2009. In 1986, the Snedeker family rented a home in Connecticut that turned out to be a former mortuary. And of course, Ed and Lorraine, they investigated that. And so that's based on a true story. The Haunting in Connecticut in 2009. Another movie called Stuck. Now, I've not seen this. Stuck 2007. I have noticed. Stuck, S-T-U-C-K. It is after committing a hit and run where the victim becomes lodged in the windshield, a young nursing assistant named Brandy tries to figure out her next course of action. So Brandy is based on Chante Joanne Mallard, a Texan woman who hit Gregory Glenn Biggs, a homeless man, left him embedded in her windshield until he died. By the way, she was convicted and sentenced to 50 years in prison for her crime. Wow, that's crazy. That movie is called Stuck, 2007. Another movie called Borderland. Now, I have a lot of movies here, guys. I have a lot of movies. So some people say, what about this movie? What about this movie? I promise you, I'll try to get to them. Borderland, 2007. So Ryder Strong and Sean Astin star in Borderland, a film that centers on three friends who head down to Mexico to celebrate their college graduation, but stumble upon a cult that practices human sacrifice. You see, the film is loosely based on the life of Adolfo Constanzo, an American-born serial killer and cult leader who actually moved to Mexico City as an adult, where he met friends who would become his future followers. Isn't that crazy? That's actually based on a true story called Borderland, and it's 2007. The next movie is Black Water, 2007. Now I got to tell you, I have seen this one. This is an intense movie. Look, here's the deal. I've performed 30 exorcisms on people who were validly possessed. Okay. But when it comes to sharks, and when it comes to spiders, and when it comes to snakes, and when it comes to crocodiles or alligators, I am gone. I'm out of there. I am nope. So here's this movie. Again, it's called Black Water, 2007. If the idea of swimming in water with a crocodile frightens you, this is a movie. I'm giving you a heads up, though. And what begins as a family vacation to the mangroves of northern Australia ends up with a crocodile attack and a fight to survive in black water. The marketing for the film said that it was based on real-life events. And to an extent, that is true. The movie is inspired by an actual crocodile attack that happened in northern Australia in 2003. The film actually used footage of real crocodiles and some CGI to create the vicious monsters portrayed in the embellished story. But I got to tell you something, honestly, it's, some movies when you see CGI, it's like, oh, good, okay, this is terrible. This was really good. So if you haven't seen it, yeah, I know, isn't that true? Lucille says there was a shark attack on Long Island last weekend. I don't know what. Here, there are a lot of theories as far as the shark attacks, Lucille. I read this one article on the Oceanic magazine because I'm a nerd, because I read like science. And apparently what is happening, at least from scientists' perspectives is the temperatures in the weather on the water is changing. Now, I'm not going to sit here and argue politics. We're not arguing global warming. I don't do politics here. We do know that there is changing in the water, that it's getting warmer, and the belief is that these fish are swimming closer to shore, which therefore brings in the sharks closer to shore. So that is the latest, at least theory out there, as to why there are so many shark attacks and why the sharks are coming so close to the shore, is because obviously where the food is, the predators will go. But it's an interesting theory. Okay. Oh yeah, I agree. Yes, yeah. So by the way, this movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005 movie. I'm going to do this. I wasn't planning on it, but why not? Let's have some fun tonight. It is Friday. It's Friday. So The Exorcism of Emily Rose is based on a true story, a 2005 movie. Now, people ask me, is The Exorcism of Emily Rose, how close is that to the reality? I have the case file. There are some things that Hollywood obviously, did a little bit of magic to. Okay, fine. But they tried to stick as closely as they could to the actual trial, where the two exorcists were there, and the family members, and they told the story. Thank you very much, and they told them what happened, and they tried to stick as closely as they could to what was actually reported in the testimony given by the priest. But however, I think there was some major negligence on the part of the exorcist, as well as the family. Annalisa Bukel she was 68 pounds when she died. She died of malnutrition, dehydration. I mean, when you get to that type, when you're that sick, obviously, that's when you have to stop the rite, and you must get. So here's the problem. Technically, they wanted to. The clergy wanted to stop and get medical attention, but the family refused. The family said no. Annalise said no. The family did not want any part of any more traditional medicine, because she had already been on medicine. She has grand mal epilepsies. She had seizures. And she went to a psychiatric hospital because they really didn't know how to treat seizures at the time. And they put her on medicine. And that actually is when she started describing these horrible, horrible figures, of these ghastly figures that she would see. Thank you very much. So for those of you, I know some of you say, when I say thank you very much, it's because people on TikTok are offering gifts on the ministry. So thank you. Yeah, she was. She was so emaciated. It was terrible. 2005, the story of Emily Rose is loosely based on the story of her name is Annalise Michel. She was German. She was a young German woman who underwent an exorcism, later died from malnutrition, dehydration. Her parents and the priests involved were negligent homicide following her death. It was terrible. That case was really, really, really terrible. Now, I'm not going to do. I will do a case. I'm going to do another presentation on real life exorcisms. Thank you. I've never seen that. Thank you. And we'll do some sound bites maybe one day. This movie here, I've seen it, and it's an uncomfortable movie called Open Water, 2003. Based on a true story. A couple left behind in the open ocean after the scuba diving group left without them. Oh, isn't that just the premise of Open Water? But the real story is Tom and Eileen Lonergan. See, the Lonergans were tourists visiting Australia's Great Barrier Reef when they were left behind, January the 25th, 1998. Now, experts doubt that the Lonergans shared the same fate as the characters in the film, but the couples were never found. So the theory is they were attacked by sharks. And yeah, that is it. That's an intense story. Intense. Already, folks, we have 70,000. Well, thank you very much, DeBlas. Thank you for that. Okay, Monster. Oh my goodness, gravy, folks. This is a frightening movie. 2003. 2003. Charlize Theron, unbelievable. First of all, she is beautiful, and the transformation that she underwent to look like Eileen Warnos. I'm sorry, Eileen War. Wow. I mean, wow. If you've not seen this movie, it is based on a true story. It's called Monster. It's in 2003. She won 17 awards, including an Oscar, and she deserved it, for her portrayal of former prostitute turned serial killer Eileen Wuornos. You see, Wuornos was she was convicted on 6 accounts of first-degree murder, and obviously she would have sexual relations with men and she would kill them. Though there was a 7th victim, and she was executed in Florida in 2002. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you have not seen that movie, it is really intense. Another movie called Dahmer. Oh, she put on 30 pounds for the movie. Wow. Dahmer, 2002. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Dubois. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you have not seen this, this is on Netflix. Guys, I'm telling you what, the guy who played Dahmer, man, it's creepy. It is creepy. And shoot, doggy dog. I have them over there. Was going to bring something. Let me get. Hold on 1 second. Let me get something because I want to share. I want to show you something because I haven't shown. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, everybody. 1 second. Okay. Well, let me fix my microphones now because I gotta do all that. There we go. Yeah, I wanted to show you guys this, and this is crazy. So I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen this, it's on Netflix. It's called Dahmer. It's 2000, and I didn't think it was 2002. There's another one, wasn't there? That was a movie. But what am I thinking? This is Jeremy Renner. Jeremy Renner. He did a great job. So I'm thinking of something else. Jeremy Renner. This is a movie. Plays a well-known serial killer and rapist, Jeffrey Dahmer, in the movie 2002 biopic. Though the crimes portrayed are real events, the victims' names were changed. Okay, it's not forcing religion. Actually, Sean, if you've been watching the show, I haven't talked about religion at all. So, Sean, and that's what we do for people who are rude. Block. Bye-bye, Tro. Okay. Yeah, it's just like, come on, give me a break. Have I talked religion, folks? Stop forcing religion. Okay. Haven't talked religion. We're talking horror movies. Anyway, but the Dahmer story was also portrayed in the 2017 My Friend Dahmer with Ross Lynch starring as the serial killer. Evan Peters was played. Oh, yeah, here it is. That's it. Evan Peters also portrayed Dahmer in the 2022 Netflix series called Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Wow. Okay. I absolutely loved even better Peters, who portrayed Dahmer. That was creepy. I mean, even the voice, the mannerisms. If you guys have not seen that, watch it. Yeah, won an Emmy. You're right. Yeah, it is really phenomenal. It's on Netflix. Series called Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. Yeah, he was from American Horror Story. Actually, you know what? A lot of people don't know is on the very first house. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dubois. I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you, Dubois. Do you remember the great big mansion on the American Horror Story? I think it was the first season. The owners of the mansion actually contacted me, and they asked me if I would be willing to go there during Halloween and do an investigation. And they actually filmed it, and it was a live event, live streaming. I went there, so I was the only actual clergy to ever investigate that home. And I'm telling you, we got the beautiful home. Beautiful home. It actually has a chapel. Of course, it's been run down, but it actually has a chapel in the home. It is gorgeous. was it more? It is gorgeous, gorgeous. But it's on. You might be able to go online and Google it. It's the American Horror Story House Halloween streaming event or something of this nature. I don't know what it was called, but it was several years ago. It was really cool. And we got a lot of evidence. By the way, one thing that I wanted to share with you, a lot of people collect things from serial killers. I don't know why. Yeah, you're right. It is beautiful. Someone bought this at one of those auctions, and thank you, DeBoss. Let me just make sure I'm following. Thank you very much. Look at this. So I know it's backwards. I don't know how to fix that, but it says, "Enjoy my glasses. Respectfully yours, Jeff." So he did this. He sold several of his items, for his defense. And these are actually old pair of Jeffrey Dahmer. I don't know why someone would buy these, but they did. And so this is an actual pair of one of Jeffrey Dahmer's glasses. Has a letter of authenticity, and he didn't like it. When he bought it, he brought it home. And he just did not have, he didn't like there was something he just didn't like about it. It was very oppressive and it was heavy, and everything began to change in his home. And he said, that's it. I don't want this. I don't want this in my home anymore. So these are the glasses. Of course, it doesn't have the prescription, but these are actually the one pair of Jeffrey Dahmer's glasses. And when I do paranormal conferences, yeah, they did. He spent some money on it. But when I do paranormal conferences, I bring these things and to show people. And I don't know why people collect them. I wish they wouldn't do it. I take it from people's homes and I bless their homes and tell them, hey, look, don't do this anymore, because it's a form of invitation, because that's heavy stuff there. Okay, another one in 2021 called Things Heard and Seen. I haven't seen this one. In the Amanda Seyfried Starer, Things Heard and Seen, a Manhattan couple moves to a historic hamlet where they discover that their marriage has sinister secrets involving their new home's history. The film was based on a 2016 novel, All Things Cease to Appear. The novel and film are loosely based off an alleged supernatural experiences in a home Brundage and her husband rented. So again, I've not seen this. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's called All Things Cease to Appear. Okay, interesting. Okay, the next one is The Birds, 1963. The Birds short story may have been an inspiration for Alfred Hitchcock's 1963 The Birds, but the film was actually reportedly based on real-life events. The film centers on a California coastal town that was actually terrorized by a flock of birds. You see, in 1961, birds in the Monterey Bay area reportedly acted disoriented and rammed into people's houses due to an unknown cause. In 2011, it was reported that researchers found a toxin making algae in the birds that actually caused amnesia, disorientation, and seizures. Cool. Okay, and again, for those of you saying hello, I appreciate it. Hello to all of you. I've got, remember, 3 screens running at the same time. People are slamming me with messages on Messenger, on Twitter. I'm only one set of eyes. So hello to everybody. Hello. The movie Scream, 1996. I got to be honest with you. I didn't like the film. I don't know. I didn't like it. I wasn't. Some people love the franchise. I did not. I just thought it was. I have not. I've been wanting to see the fourth kind. I haven't done it yet. I'm just, guys. When I tell you my schedule is crazy, I really legitimately mean it. The 1996 original, but I'm going to make it happen. The 1996 original slasher film that would spawn a franchise was inspired by the Gainesville, Florida mutilations, in which several young people were murdered in the Florida community. After screenwriter Kevin Williamson watched a television special on the Gainesville murderers. So there you go. You can check that out. The story inspired what would be a script about a knife-wielding killer. Poltergeist. Poltergeist. Folks, is based on an alleged true story, 1982 movie. In the 1982 classic, co-written by Steven Spielberg, tells the story of a family whose home was built on a burial ground and plagued by its violent spirits. Now, the premise of the story was based on the Herman family. So you can Google that, Hermann, Herman family, who claimed that their Long Island, New York home was haunted by a poltergeist due to objects mysteriously flying around the house. Now, the family, who eventually moved, believed the events were due to the home being near a Native American burial site. So, allegedly based on a true story. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I like the one. I don't like the original one. No, I forgot the version that I like. Anyway, the 1974 film centered on a chainsaw murderer, Leatherface, is loosely inspired by the life and crimes of killer Ed Gein, also known as the Butcher of Plainfield, or Plainfield Ghoul. See, in the 1950s, Gein exhumed corpses from graveyards and made keepsakes from their bones and skin. Gein also had a history of wearing women's clothes, as Leatherface does in the original film, and would actually sometimes go out in his yard and howl at the moon. The Strangers, really cool. I actually got to meet thank you there, Bill. I actually got to meet the cast from The Strangers, and I got to meet the lead guy, and I talked to him, and he was a really cool guy. That's a 2008 movie. Do you know it's loosely based on a true story? It stars Scott Speedman and Liv Taylor, or I think it's Liv Taylor, chronicled a terrifying home invasion. Now, the story was inspired by real-life violent crimes, including the murders committed by the Manson family and the 1981 Keedy Cabin murders, in which 4 people were killed by 3 masked assailants in a California resort town. It was announced September 13th that The Strangers, would be getting a reboot from Lionsgate. I saw the reboot. I was like, it didn't. Now, I want to share something with you. I actually met him at a paranormal conference. A really cool guy. Really, really cool guy. So this is a signed autograph by the lead actor. It says here, lock your doors, pretend you're safe. It's really cool. So that is his little autograph there. But even better, I was in my Clerics, and I told him, I said, this is a fantastic movie. You did a great job. And I'm not going to take it out because it's signed, but this is actually one of the props that was in the movie. And it's actually autographed. So I'm not going to take it out, obviously, because... well, I guess I could actually, because it doesn't have one of those things. I thought it was like one of those. Let me just show it to you. I can't show it to you and then not show you the. This was the first one, because they had multiple masks that they wore, and that's what the number one. Pretty cool. There it is. So I thought he was a really nice guy, a really, really cool guy. And it was kind of him to do that. So I'm going to put this right back. That's a really phenomenal movie. It's creepy as heck, though. And knowing that it's based on a real life, story, I think that's what makes it even more frightening. If you've not seen that movie, The Strangers, it is pretty creepy indeed. Okay, let me put this up there. Okay, there we go. I have all these wires. My goodness. Okay, the next one, of course, is Zodiac 2007. The chilling 2007 film starring Jake Gyllenhaal. I like Gyllenhaal. I don't know his last name. He's a phenomenal actor. Was based on the Zodiac killer who was behind brutal murders in San Francisco throughout the 1960s and 70s. The killer would also taunt police by sharing puzzles and coded messages through the press. The David Fincher film centered on political cartoonist Robert Graysmith, who spent decades obsessing over uncovering the identity of the killer. So, of course, another movie, The Exorcist. Yep, based on a true story, 1973 film. I've seen the new trailer for The Exorcist. I am not. I don't know about you guys. I don't know. I'm sorry. There was just something about it that just like I just did not like the trailer. I just did not. The Exorcist continues to frighten audiences years after 1974 debut, but the film's inspiration is just as chilling. The film's premise is based on the case of a 14-year-old boy named Roland Doe. In 1994, it was reported that Doe was possessed by something sinister, and an exorcism was performed on him by priests. Of course, the exorcism reportedly had to be stopped because Doe ripped off and threw a piece of mattress spring at the priest. Of course, it was not 1994. It was far, far before that. So the author kind of messed up a bit on that. It was a while back, but it's based on a true story. And here's the deal as far as the movie The Exorcist. Obviously, the spinning head does not occur. That's obvious. However, the regurgitation does. The screaming in multiple pitches happens. The eyes going black, markings appearing on the body. Things of that nature will absolutely occur. Yeah, and so yeah, it's there are certain things obviously that are not true, but I think they did a pretty good job with that. So. Well, we'll get to. Remember, there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies that we haven't got to. So I promise you, we're going to get to them. The 2003 movie. That's what I like. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 version. You want to give your life to the Lord? Well, then just give your life to the Lord. Say, Jesus Christ, I give my life to you. You're my personal Lord and Savior. Listen to this. So I like the 2003 version on Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Mothman Prophecies. That was next on the list. Well, thank you very much, Elaine. The movie is based on the book of the same name, which was based on allegedly true events. Folks, I don't know. People ask me all the time about the Gates of Hell Cemetery. I don't know what I saw at the Gates of Hell Cemetery. I know actually it was me and 3 other people. I don't know what it was, but it was something that I can't explain. I even to this day, it bothers me because I can't define it. I've been wanting to do a YouTube series on it, and I'm going to. I promise you. I promise. I'm going to. I think in the fall it would be really better because it's not as hot. It has been just unbearably hot, and to be honest with me and clerics in all black, it's just too hot. So I promise you, I will. But I saw whatever this creature. Me and 3 other people, we saw this. I don't know. I don't know what it was. The movie The Entity, 1982, says here, prepare to be spooked out of your mind. As this, oh, by the way, this is written by Betty Garcia. Always give credit where credit is due, otherwise it would be copyright. So, The Entity, 1982 movie. It says, prepare to be spooked out of your mind as the movie brings to life the disturbing real-life experiences of Doris Bither, a California woman who claimed to be haunted by a disturbing supernatural entity that did everything from knocking objects off shelves to actually attacking her. So that's what that. Did you know this? This movie is allegedly based on a true story. Listen to this. The Hills Have Eyes. The 2006 movie. I did not know. I had no clue. So when I was doing my research for the show, I thought, so this might be a modern classic horror movie, but it actually inspired by the historic legend of what's called Sawney Bean. Sawney, Sawney Bean. You can do your own Google research on it. It's actually a 16th century Scottish clan clan, who basically, along with his cave-dwelling folk, is said to have murdered and cannibalized passerbys. Did you guys know? I had no idea. I had no clue. No clue. Uh, 97,000 likes right now on TikTok. You guys are rocking and rolling. Thank you very much. And thank you, moderators, for being here. Okay, here we go. Wolf Creek. Wolf Creek, the movie in 2005. It's actually loosely based on Australia's notorious backpacker murders. You see, this bone-chilling film depicts the tragic experience of unsuspecting travelers who fall prey to a sadistic and relentless killer in the outback. Man. There's a lot more movies, folks. The Girl Next Door, 2007. So knowing that this is based on a true story makes it just that much more uncomfortable to watch. The author says, inspired by the 1965 torture and murder of a teenage girl named Sylvia Likens. The whole thing is unsettling. But worst of all is the fact that the neighborhood kids getting involved in the abuse is 100% real. So again, for those of you who don't know, it's called The Girl Next Door in 2007, based on a true story. Above Suspicion, 2021. I have not seen this one. It recounts the story of real-life FBI agent Mark Putnam, who, after relocating to a mining town in Kentucky on his first mission, began a 2-year affair with a local woman, Susan Smith, who also happened to be his best informant. And things got twisted and tragic from there. There you go. We talked about The Birds. Eden in 2012. See, in Eden, a young Korean-American woman is abducted and forced into prostitution. And the movie is based on real-life experiences on Chong Kim, who was reportedly kidnapped and sold into a domestic human trafficking ring in the mid-1900s. Good grief. Yeah, and Mothman, that's right. Mothman is based on allegedly on true events. This movie is in 2021. I've not seen this. If you've seen these movies, let me know. 2021, Things Heard and Seen. That's the name of the movie. I have not seen it. The thriller follows a young woman who leaves Manhattan behind to move to a small town with her husband, never expecting that their new home will harbor sinister secrets. Though it's based on a fiction novel, that novel was actually inspired by the Brundage real-life brushes with the supernatural. So there we are. This movie called All Good Things in 2010, based on a true story, inspired by the crimes of convicted murderer Robert Durst. All Good Things, it revolves around the wealthy son of a New York real estate tycoon who develops a volatile relationship with his wife. Ooh. Now, this is actually, they turned this into a game. Silent Hill. Come on, Silent Hill can't be based on a true story. The 2006 film. Well, if you've never heard of Centralia, Pennsylvania, that's because it's pretty much a ghost town due to the coal mine fire that actually has been burning beneath the city since 1962. Now, it may not be well known, but it did serve as an inspiration for this haunting movie. Obviously, there was a little, creative licensing there. I mean, come on. This movie is called Colonia in 2015. It's set in 1973. The chilling thriller tells the story of a woman, Emma Watson, who's a great actress, who attempts to rescue her boyfriend from the real life Colonia Dignidad. It's an infamous cult in the south of Chile, led by preacher Paul Schaefer. Yeah, we mentioned Texas Chainsaw. The next one is 2011. It's called The Texas Killing Fields. He existed. What did God do before he created the earth? He existed. So the Texas Killing Fields in 2011. It features an all-star cast. The Texas Killing Fields is all about the many murders that have taken place along Houston's I-45 corridor between Houston and Galveston. It's an area known as the Killing Fields. Well, I mean, God exists outside of our plane, of our universe. To say, well, where does God do this and what? We don't know. He just simply existed. And we're not God, so we can theorize on it, but ultimately, we simply don't know. Okay, so that's this list here. They got some pretty good lists. They got some, I think, a pretty decent amount of true movies. Let's find some more, and then this is from J.L. Rucker. Okay, we talked about Wolf Creek. Have you seen the Toolbox Murders? He's all around. You speak truth, not myth. Okay. The Toolbox Murders, 1978. It's released in 1978. It's Toolbox Murders is based on the true story of serial killers Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Lewis Norris, who committed a series of killings in Southern California while disguising themselves in ski masks. The 1983 movie called Angst. It's based on a true story of a psychopath that escapes from prison, starts taking out his sadistic fantasies on an unsuspecting woman, her daughter, and handicapped son who are living in a secluded house. My goodness. Well, he created the devil. He created angels. It was the devil who chose. See, people, why did God create the devil? Well, God didn't force the devil to turn on him. The devil chose to reject God. Just as we have that right to do so as well. So I think we have to be careful about, well, shame on, God for doing it. Well, we have free will. We'll get to it in just a second. The Serpent in the Rainbow, 1988 movie. It's an anthropologist travels to Haiti. This really is scary. To study a voodoo drug used in religious practices to help turn patients into zombies, and winds up being chased by Haitian authorities who view his research as a threat to uncover something much deeper going on. That is just nuts. That really is. Did you know The Dentist, the movie The Dentist, 1996 movie? If you have a dentist phobia, of course they're going to have a movie about it. Protect your peace and keep on moving on. It's because The Dentist is about a man who absolutely loses it when he finds out that his wife is cheating on him. So you see, the dentist is obsessed with perfection. And his wife stepping out on him shows that his rich and successful Beverly Hills life isn't quite as perfect. He can't handle this. And this is why he flies off the deep end to become a killer. Isn't that nuts? Extraordinary, 2019. It's a driving instructor that possesses a supernatural abilities is requested by a father to help save his daughter who is apparently possessed. Okay, haven't seen that one either. We talked about Open Water. We talked about Silent, that one. Okay, we talked about this. We talked about Borderland. The Utah Cabin Murders, 2019 movie, is based on the 1990 home invasion by Vaughn Taylor and Edward Deli of a family cabin in Utah. Two sisters are staying at the cabin when Taylor and Deli break in, and they're forced to fight for their survival. An American Haunting is loosely based on a true story. It's inspired by events that took place in 1800 in Tennessee. It's an American Haunting is about a verified case in which a spirit caused a person's death. The Bell Witch. This spirit was haunting a family for over 2 years before the death was caused. Oh, goodness gracious. Ted Bundy. There's a movie, Ted Bundy, of course, the 2002 movie. And there's several movies. Psycho. Vince Vaughn. I like Norman Bates, but honestly, I like the Vince Vaughn version. It's the 1998 version, in which a discovery of Bates Motel is made by a female embezzler after a murder while she investigated the thief. realizing that there's a lot more to Bates Motel than meets the eye, allegedly based on true story. Yeah, Zac Efron on the Back Country. Now, guys, let me tell you something. Back Country, if you have not seen that, okay, I love bears, but I got to tell you something. There's no way I would ever go camping in an area that I know that bears run around in a tent. No way. This movie was frightening. This movie, it's called Back Country, 2014. The Rotten Tomato score, by the way, is 92%. 2014 Back Country is about a married couple named Alex and Jen. Well, actually, they were engaged, who go camping in the woods. And as they're camping, they realize not only that they have forgotten their phones, but they've become lost, as if things couldn't get any worse. As they are searching for a way to get out, they end up being stalked by a man-eating big black bear. There's a saying when I went to Gatlinburg, there's signs everywhere on the hotel that says, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If it's white, say goodnight. So they have the sign everywhere. If it's a black bear and it's attacking you, they tell you to fight back. Because apparently, if it's a grizzly bear, then you lay down, because eventually the grizzly bear just kind of they're done with you and they leave you alone, apparently. But if it's white, a polar bear, forget it. Because actually, polar bears attack humans. We are on the menu of polar bear menu, so it's not a very good thing. So that's a really cool. Thank you. Okay, so let's do. Black Christmas, 1974 film, is loosely based on a true story. Released in 1974, Black Christmas is about a group of sorority sisters who began receiving harassing phone calls that ultimately leads to one of the girls going missing from the house. So that, combined with a local adolescent girl being murdered, makes it clear that there's a serial killer on the loose, but nobody realized just how close the serial killer is actually to them. Man, can you imagine? We talked about Eileen Wuornos. That's a phenomenal, really, really great movie. Let me just find, because there's a couple movies that I want to talk about as well. I really like the movie called Gacy. If you have not seen Gacy, it's based on John Wayne Gacy. And I'm telling you that it stars Mark Holton. And he does a great job with Gacy. It's creepy. He is creepy. It's 2003. And that is, I'm telling you, that is a really, really intense movie. There's also a movie called Dear Mr. Gacy. That's actually based on a true story. And there was a young man who was in college, and he thought it would be a good idea to contact serial killers, because he just wanted to talk to them, and then because he was in his class and he thought he could get a communication and kind of get into their mind. Well, unfortunately, he did, and he actually went to visit John Wayne Gacy in prison after Gacy was arrested. And Gacy, and I read the book, so it's based on a book. It's called Dear Mr. Gacy. I have the book over here. I think it's called The Last Victim. Let me just check. Hold on. I want to make sure I think that's called The Last Victim. Yeah, it is. Called Last Victim by Jason Moss. That's his name, Moss. It's a very, very good book. But here's what's really creepy about the entire thing. Jason says in his book, and when I read it, I thought, wow. I mean, he said that when he went to John Wayne Gacy, when he visited him, John started laughing and said, I know exactly how you're going to die. and it's going to be via gunshot. Well, Jason got really deep into some of these serial killers. I mean, he spoke to pretty much all of them, and they had a conversation with him. And indeed, that's how he had passed away, exactly as John Wayne Gacy said he would. So that's that's kind of, but that's a really, if you want John Wayne Gacy, if you're interested in the story of John Wayne Gacy, you might want to check it out. You can ask questions, and I'll try to hopefully you're enjoying this. I like horror movies, and I especially movies that are based on real life. Oh my gosh, I just know. Thank you very much for putting that out there. We have 141,000 likes right now on TikTok. That is phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And by the way, for those of you who just joined us, I want to encourage you, please do yourself a favor. Make sure you go to our sponsor's site, kgradb.com, because there's a lot of people who are just tuning in. Again, kgradb, D is in dog, B is in bicycle.com. And they have some amazing paranormal shows. Yep, this show airs there. The Sacred Division airs there as well. And if you're going to subscribe, put Bishop as your promo code. Really important, because you're going to get 30% off your subscription. It's cheap anyway, as it is. But hey, you're going to save 30%. A lot of people have told me that they love the website. They love the shows. And it's 30% off your subscription. Again, kgradb.com. So please make sure you go there and subscribe. They sponsor the shows, so we appreciate them. We have Bible studies. We have open mic on Saturday, so we appreciate them doing that. Okay. Excuse me. What is the most scared you've been? Well, as far as I definitely would say probably the Gates of Hell Cemetery. Oh yeah, you certainly can. You always can pray for people. Yeah, no doubt, absolutely, Tony. The Gates of Hell Cemetery. It was probably the most frightening that I've been. For those of you who don't know, in about maybe 20 years ago, I can't remember. We were contacted. I was contacted by families. It's an old abandoned cemetery in Kentucky, and I'll play an EVP. It's an old abandoned cemetery in Kentucky, and unfortunately, a lot of people go there and they do some things they shouldn't do. Well, so the families asked if I would go and bless it. It's an abandoned cemetery. It's not being used anymore, and it's a small cemetery. It's a one little path, if you will, dirt path that goes in, and the same path that goes out. And in the very back of it, it's a big, huge, like a big dead tree, really. And unfortunately, people will go there and put altars up there and do some things they should not do. And so I went there thinking, okay, we're going to go bless the area. No big deal. And there's a fence around it, like a horseshoe fence. Okay, didn't think anything about it. So I go there and with the team, and I mean, everything. It was insane. We caught EVPs, which stands for electronic voice phenomena. We had digital recorders. It was the videos, the sounds, the pictures. It was insane. And I did do the blessing there. And so I went on radio back then, 2003. And I went and I actually talked about it. I said, man, this is like the gates of hell. And that is how the Gates of Hell Cemetery in Kentucky got its name. Nobody knew that cemetery even existed in the paranormal. Nobody knew. It's an old abandoned. It's hard to, it's 5 miles off the beaten path. So nobody even knew it was even there. I didn't even know. I've been in Kentucky all my life. But when I went there, I tell you what, guys, this is one of those places, one of those times. So I went there with 3 other people. And we went into the back. For those of you who have not heard this story or who have heard it, please indulge me for a moment, because there are a lot of people who are new who have not heard it. So we went into the back where this tree was, and It was around midnight or so, and there were big, huge trees all around it, and we saw like shadow people. Darting back and forth from out of the trees. We thought originally it might have been like the local people trying to scare us, but there were so many. There were so many. And they were just darting from in and out behind the trees. And we thought, what in the world's going on? But it looked like they were closing off. They were like slowly closing in, like trying to close us off. And remember, we only had one path in, one path out. And then the trees there, this was in the summer, the crickets were going, and the trees started swaying back and forth. But we felt no wind where we were. And the crickets stopped. There's so many shadow people that we saw. But the crickets, everything stopped. It got silent. And so we thought, it's time to go. Something is not right. We all felt it. Bishop David Price was with me, and there's two other people that were there. So we said, okay, it's time to go. So we went to the front, and we were finally out. And there's a tree right at the entrance. And one of the investigators, we heard him shake because he was holding a flashlight, and we heard the rattle of the shake. It's like, what in the world's going on? Because our backs were turned. Our backs were turned toward the thing. He was looking towards it, and it pale as a ghost. I mean, his face was pale as a ghost. And he had this expression of horror. And we turned around, and we saw what he was looking at. Now, there was a full moon that night. So the moon was behind the tree. And we all saw this figure. I don't know what it is. To this day, I don't know. It was a massive, it looked like a 10-foot bat. That's what it looked like to me. It had the face, the head of a bat, a long torso. It was so well defined. You could actually see the torso, the legs. We could see the claws. The wings were spread out, massive. I mean, the wingspan from, and when I do my series on this, I'll show the tree. And I'll explain what. Seriously, I would. And I've said this before. I would take a lie detector test today on air right now. I don't know what this was because it didn't make any. It had red eyes, and it was it was fluorescent red eyes. There was no noise. It made no grunting noise. Nothing. It just looked right at us, and we knew that if we moved two inches closer, it would attack. We just knew it. And we thought, okay, I don't know what this thing is. I'm out of here. I've been in the presence of a demonic entity. I've been in the presence of people who are possessed. This is not the same feeling. It wasn't the same feeling as of a demonic presence. And to me, the only way to describe it was like it was a cryptid, if you would, that I can't define. Yeah, people say Mothman, perhaps. I don't know. But anyway, I got back, and when I took my little dog outside to use the restroom, there's a big field right across the street from my house. And so when I took the dog outside, there was a bass. I mean, there was a growl. And this growl, I've heard a lot of growls before. This growl was big. And it came from something very, very, very big. I mean, like I've said this before, I felt the bass in the chambers of my chest. It was that intense. I grabbed my dog and said, no, we're done. We're done. Because people say, well, it was a bear, bigger. This was a growl that I have. I mean, man, it can't. I don't know. But at the Gates of Hell Cemetery, we did an investigation there. Let me see if I can turn this on for you guys, because I'll play the EVP. Okay, good. So this is the EVP that I captured at the Gates of Hell Cemetery. And I something wasn't right. I knew something was very uncomfortable. And I asked the question, are you friendly or something? And this is what we heard. Listen to this.
Is there anyone here? Are you friendly?
Now, let me tell you something, guys. I've heard a lot of EVPs before. A lot. This was on digital recorder. This was not a cassette or anything like this. This was a digital recorder, and I didn't hear it. If I heard it, it would be a disembodied voice. So some people say, "What's an animal?" I would have heard it, and not only would I have heard it, but other people would have heard it when we were there. We heard nothing, nothing at all. Like I said, if we could hear that crowd, that would be a disembodied voice. But when I played it back on the recorder, that's what, because we knew something wasn't right. We knew that something was there because we all felt it. And it was heavy, it was deep, it was powerful. And when I played it back, boy, that was, yeah. So I was at the gates of Hell Cemetery. Please do not, please do not, please do not go there. Okay, don't go there. Yeah, I'll play it again. Yeah, people go there, and I don't know why they do it. Just don't do it.
Is there anyone here? Are you friendly?
Yeah, it wasn't friendly. That's for sure. It was not friendly at all. Yeah, it was pretty intense. That was and now unfortunately, some people, and I've had to let them know that they are in copyright infringement. But some people have downloaded that and said, "See, I caught it. I caught it." No, that would actually be a copyright violation. So you probably don't want to do that. Otherwise, you'll speak to the attorney. So, but people have, "See, well, look what I caught." And unfortunately, that happens in the paranormal community. I don't know what that was, no question, that was evil. I mean, obviously. Have I learned anything from horror movies that you applied to your own work? No. No. No, no. No. To my knowledge, no paranormal team has gone there. But I'm going to be doing a YouTube series on it. But see, I know the people in that area, so if you go there, you're going to be arrested. So I encourage you, do not do that. We tell people that all the time, stay away. But I know the local police in that area, so there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who go there who vandalize and I wish I could. In a way, I wish I would have never given its name, because in 2003, when I did that, and then I talked about it on the History Channel and National Geographic, that's when people flooded that, and I kind of felt bad about it. I mean, I have to tell the story, and that's what happened. But stay away. If you go there, you'll probably be arrested. So the police do not play around. It gets monitored often because people go there and they destroy. So stupid. People go there and destroy the tombstones and desecrate the area. Just dumb. I wish they wouldn't. Oh, you're very, very welcome, Janine. I try to answer as many as I can. Yeah, it's just do you have a favorite movie? Oh, there's a lot of movies that I do like. That's a tough one. I'd have to really think about that, because I like movies that are. I love the movie The Others. I think The Others was phenomenal. That really was that's a great movie. But I also like other movies besides horror. But I certainly say The Others is probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I would certainly say The Right was very good. But I don't really watch a whole lot of possession movies. I like The Others because there was a twist to it, and I thought that was really fantastic. Okay. Certainly, yeah. Other spirits and like demonic entities can absolutely summon other demons, and that's where many times you hear the reference of legions. Yeah, Nicole. Yeah, there you go, Nicole Kidman. Cabin 28. I have not seen this movie. If you guys have seen this in 2017, the Rotten Tomatoes score, only 10%. It's based on the true story of the Ketty murders, which involved 4 people being killed at what's known as the Ketty Resort in Cabin 28 in 1981. I don't know much about that, but didn't do so well on Rotten Tomatoes. Loved ones can be ghosts and not. Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely, April. I don't believe there's a lot of people who out there who say that all ghosts are demons. I do not believe that. I do not believe that at all. I have not found that to be true. Actually, just the opposite. Uh, and I know that there are some people who do this, but and then I ask them, well, why do you think that? Well, why do you say that? Well, it's scripture. It's scripture. No, actually, it's not. Scripture says just the opposite, sunshine, because I've talked about this before in Matthew chapter 14, verse 26. Remember when I've said this now for 20 years. Jesus walked on water. The disciples saw him and they were frightened, and they were frightened because they thought they were seeing a ghost. That's what Scripture says. In Luke chapter 24, verse 36 through 51, after Jesus was crucified, he appeared to them and they said they were frightened, and they said they thought they were seeing a ghost. And they say, well, it meant demon. No. You cannot. That's two different words. You cannot possibly misinterpret demons from ghosts. Impossible. That's like saying car and I don't know, a house are the same word. No, they're not. Two different words. So it tells us that the disciples had a concept of what ghosts were. And it also says that it did not say, don't be stupid, ghosts don't exist. Actually, Jesus said, why do you doubt? Touch and find out for yourselves. Ghosts don't have flesh and bones as you see that I have. So I don't buy the argument that all ghosts are demons. I simply don't believe it. Well, why are they still here? Because I don't believe. But you have to remember, heaven exists outside of time and space. Heaven is not restricted in time or space. See, our minds can only. We have the concept, obviously, of time and space because we're restricted here because of our bodies. Fine. But if you are in spirit form, you're no longer restricted to time or space. You can live outside of that reality. So therefore, you can be in heaven and be here at the same time. Yep. Okay. Oh, well, you want to send me a t-shirt. I wear now an extra large. Technically a large, but I don't like I like more looser fitting clothing, so an extra large. Okay. Yeah, and that's why I love the movie The Others. If you've never seen it, guys, take a look at that. It's a really phenomenal movie. It really is. It's a great movie. By the way, did I? And I probably did. If do you know any other movies that I did not mention that are horror movies based on true events? I would like to know if you guys have heard, because I'm sure there are. I'm sure I missed some. Oh, The Omen. Yeah, The Omen. That's right. The Fourth Kind. I'm going to watch it. Husband has sleep paralysis. No, The Conjuring. Yeah, the sleep paralysis does not necessarily mean demonic. The Crucifixion, deliver us from evil. Okay. A Haunting. Yeah, I talked about that one. Amityville, talked about that one. Yep. Did the Connect Event Horizon. That's not based on a true story. Annabelle, I talked about that one. I've got to watch The Fourth Kind. I know. I people keep telling me I got to do it. I get the Lindsay Street Possession. Okay, so the Lindsay Street Possession, everybody. That's what was it? Denise, I think it's Denise. Evil Dead. It's not based on a true story. Come on, guys. Oh, you the based on true stories. Oh yeah. Robert the Doll. Is that a movie? I didn't even know if that's a movie. Okay, I'm going to watch The Fourth Kind. People keep telling me all the time, The Fourth Kind, The Fourth Kind, The Fourth Kind. Okay. Amityville Horror, talked about that. Oh, the Iceman, Nancy, you're right. Let me tell you something. What was his name? Shannon. He's a great actor, a phenomenal actor. He actually did the a Waco. Shannon somebody, I forgot his name. Dagnabbit. But he was really great. The Iceman. He portrayed the Iceman based on a true story. What was his name? Shannon. Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon. There you go. Michael Shannon. If you've not seen The Iceman, that is a really, really a crazy movie. And it's based on that's what's scary. It's based on a true story. And because this guy, he was terrible. I mean, he was uh, Richard Kuklinski. It's based on his life. Richard Kuklinski. And Michael Shannon did a great job with that. Yep, I talked about Emily Rose. I talked about the Fire in the Sky. So yeah, the Ninth Gate is not based on a true story, but someone said the book and it's trying to break down. Actually, okay. Okay. Well, here's the deal. I believe in alien life. I simply do. I do. Some people say, well, nope. I believe in it. There's too much evidence here, in my opinion. There's too many people who are reporting these activities. Something is happening. I believe something is happening. So I do. And for those of you who say, well, you can't do that. And actually, Rome's and even the Vatican said you believing in aliens does not invalidate your Christian faith. Yeah, the Candyman, I believe, is loosely based on a true story as well. See that I understand the theory. I've talked about that earlier about aliens being demons. Right now, this is all theory because we simply don't know. We don't have aliens here to actually to validate that. But I don't necessarily because they're spirit form, so I don't necessarily believe that. So the Iceman, yep, I talked about that there earlier today. Nightmare on Elm Street. Did you ever the film The Eye of a God? Very disturbing. It's called what is it called? The film Eye of God. I don't know anything but The Shining. Sure. Okay, The Eye of God. Here it is for those of you who want to know. Is a 1997 crime drama film, written and directed by Tim Blake. Okay, the film follows two plot lines which are revealed connection with non-linear narrative. Nelson developed the script. Okay, in a small Oklahoma town, the local sheriff stumbles upon the traumatized teenager, Tommy, covered in someone else's blood. After the sheriff prods the boy, then he learns that a young woman has unfortunately lost her life because of it. In the parallel story, Ansley, a waitress at a diner, takes in a Marine's ex-convict. Okay, well, there you go. If you're The Eye of God, this is a disturbing movie, I've been told. So I've not seen that. No. Pray for the Devil. Yeah. I have not heard Birthright. No, I've not read that. Oh, sure. Yeah, of course, I read The Exorcist. Oh, yeah. Actually, I've been in the actual house in St. Louis. Yeah, we talked about Emily Rose, the exorcism of Emily Rose, based on Annalise Michel. The Rite. Yeah, we talked about that. I think we pretty much got most of the movies in there. I tried to get as many as I possibly could that based on a true story. Seeing if there's anything else. This Allegedly from Hell in 2001 stars Johnny Depp as Inspector Fred Aberling and is based on his intent to catch Jack the Ripper. As we know, a serial killer who has been committing a series of brutal murders in the area. Okay. Oh, yeah, I've been in Alabama before. The movie Fallen with Denzel Washington. Okay. As far as like an ailment, well, I mean, the demonic. Well, someone's asking, have I ever been attacked or have an ailment by the demonic? Well, yeah. I mean, I was under oppression. In 2015, I did the television show called Exorcism Live. No, I did not perform an exorcism on anybody on camera, nor would I ever. I blessed a home. It was the Exorcist house in St. Louis. And some clergy lost their ever loving mind. I don't understand that. Anyway, it was a blessing of a house. And But yeah, back in 2015, I was 420 pounds. So yeah, because I would go to sugar and carbs when I was bored or happy or sad or depressed or just whatever. I would always go to sugar, sugar and carbs. And so the demonic, through ordinary demonic activity, would tempt me to fall into that temptation of eating and not paying attention to my health, which I didn't. And yeah, so there we go. So I had to make a complete life change. So that's how the demonic used my weaknesses to break me down. Well, actually, you where do you go when you're possessed? Well, you don't go anywhere, actually, but it is very much there is no memory. It's almost like a coma. If people who are violently possessed do not remember the stage of possession, they remember what led up to possession. And if people say, well, that's not right, well, then you know what? Then you go talk to the Roman Catholic Church, who's actually been doing this for 2,000 years and who actually created the rite, the ritual. I mean, so I think the opinion doesn't make it a fact. So I'm telling you, based on, I'm not saying you, but there are other people saying, well, that's not true. Okay, Mr. Einstein. And how many exorcism cases have you worked? In the church's history, 2,000-year history, there's been no one remembers the stage of possession. Thank you. They actually remember what led up to possession, but they don't remember it. Oh, thank you very much. So we talked about, of course, the Exorcist movie. Annabelle, we talked about that. The Girl Next Door, 2007 movie, 194,000 likes. Man, you guys are rocking and rolling there on TikTok. Goodness gravy. Thank you very much. Okay, is there a personal prayer a person can recite if they suspect being possessed? Well, they wouldn't know if they're possessed because they'd have no memory of it. They have the memory of oppression. So when the question itself is, I understand the question, but the question itself is it's erroneous because that implies the person remembers the stage of possession. They don't. However, I always tell people, if you feel that you are oppressed, the St. Michael prayer, the shorter form is fine. The Psalm 23, Psalm 91. And I tell people all the time, if you think that you have an issue in your home with demonic presence, then I tell people to do what's called the Epiphany of the Doors, or blessing of the doors, chalking of the doors. It's all the same. And I would encourage that. Oh, sure. Do you believe that demonic oppression takes the form of tapping into our vice weaknesses, eating, smoking? Oh, sure. Yeah. Here's what happened. Again, Mr. Scotty Roberts, that falls under what's called ordinary demonic activity. So there's two types of demonic activity. There's ordinary demonic activity and there's extraordinary. And ordinary demonic activity is when the demonic will influence you to do things to harm yourself or to harm others or to sin. So that's a form of temptation. It causes you to fall into weaknesses, like mine was sugar and carbs. So under oppression, that's what it was. That's ordinary demonic activity. Now, that can also fall under what's called extraordinary demonic activity. And extraordinary demonic activity, that's where we get the infestation, oppression, possession. But I don't feel like I was being oppressed. I feel like that the demonic was attacking me through ordinary demonic activity, using my weaknesses and vulnerability of sugars and carbs. So oppression is when it begins to attack you, bite you, scratch you, cause sleep deprivation. And then demonic obsession is when it begins to interact with you on an intellectual level, and you begin to hear it. And it's breaking down the intellect and will. So unnatural. I don't understand. Well, just folks, please don't say I have a question. Just ask it, because if I look down, that might be your one opportunity, because I literally am slammed right now with questions on Instant Messenger, on YouTube, on Twitter. So, different stages of possession. Well, what leads up to possession is an infestation, oppression, obsession, then possession. So now, when you're talking about possession, there are two types of possession. It's what's called transient possession. It's perfect possession. Transient possession is when the demonic will enter the body and leave at will, while still remaining, causing the person to be under the stage of oppression and obsession. So, okay, you go out, you paranormal investigate. Is there anybody here? Can you do something? I dare you to touch me. I dare you to push me. Now you've given the invitation. Is it attached to you? You then go home. The infestation occurs. Religious objects are desecrated, the bangings of three, the smelling of sulfur, rotten flesh, animals are frightened. Clearly, there's some form of activity occurring in your home. Then it progresses to oppression, where at that time it's attacking you on a physical level. And because it's trying to break down the will. So it's sleep deprivation. It's frightening. It truly is terrifying. And at the same time, it's an obsession where it begins to attack the intellect. And once the intellect and the will are eradicated, that leads into possession because the body is at a vulnerable state that it cannot fight off this demonic. And that's what leads to possession. Okay. I found out last night some absorbing information about Clyde. I didn't know he was a conspiracy theory. Okay, good. I didn't know if you... I haven't. I had no clue. Yeah. There's a lot of people. I go on a lot of people's shows and from all walks of life. And I think this is important because sometimes when we all may not have our own agreement with one another. And that's okay. That is okay. I don't have to agree with somebody. People have had me on who are agnostic. They had a show on and they were agnostic. I was on a show with an atheist. And that gave me the opportunity to speak to them about their way of life. And we had a great conversation because it was very respectful. They were very respectful to me. I was respectful to them. But it also gave me the opportunity to understand why it was that they became an atheist. And out of that conversation, he contacted me off air and we developed a friendship. He's converted to Christianity. But it wasn't because I wanted to force my faith or belief upon him. It was because I wanted to understand why it was, what caused it, what caused him to reject Christianity. And there were some valid reasons. He went through some tough times. There was a lot of pastors that did a lot of pastors did some pretty damaging things. I think what we'll do is, if you don't mind, I'm going to delete that comment only because we all have different beliefs, and that's okay. That's okay. Even within the old Catholic Church, I mean, there are some old Catholic bishops that are ultra conservative, and they think anything else other than the Tridentine Rite is Latin Mass is invalid. And then you have some old Catholic bishops that are ultra liberal. We all have different perspectives on life. I miss the days where we could just have a conversation with one another without attacking each other. I don't know. I just to me, I miss that. I miss the days where you could just talk to somebody, a different life, a different religious perspective, a different whatever, and you just learn from one another, and you just I don't know. I kind of miss that. It's sad that we've kind of gone away from that. I wish we had more of that, but okay. Well, yeah. Thank you, Michelle. But you can show your ring, please. It keeps catching her. Oh. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. I try to always. That's why I never tell you. No one will ever know. No one will ever know what my political views are. No one will ever know. And I'll never tell anybody. It's actually cost $67. You can buy it on Etsy, and it's from Turkey. Well, folks, I've taken a vow of poverty. I don't live a lavish life. I live a very simple lifestyle. I'm a Benedictine. My life is as simple as it gets. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of, the thing is, I'll never tell anybody. Okay, Ms. Bridget, I'll never tell anybody what my political views are. You'll never know. Now, not obviously people that that I speak to privately, and but I'll never tell you. And I have them, and that is because I want people who are conservative to feel comfortable to speak to me without having the fear of being judged. I want people who are liberal to come talk to me without being the fear of being judged, or moderate. So for me, I just leave my political opinions to myself. I try to educate and teach theology, educate and teach demonology and my experience as clergy. And that's really where I try to keep things. Entertain people, have a good time, and just there are plenty of political shows out there, and so anyway. Okay. All right. For those of you who are on Spreaker, regrettably, I'm going to have to say good night to you guys. I can't believe it's already done. I mean, you see, when you start getting involved in shows like this, and when it's fun shows, you're like, man, you can go on for hours and hours and hours. I actually do. If you go to my website, so, again, don't listen to me. Please don't come on and say, you don't answer this and you don't answer that. If you go to my website, it's there. I'm very clear on what we believe. And so please don't be so aggressive. This aggressiveness is just, it's really toxic. So before you say, you don't believe this and you don't believe that, go to my website, bishopjameslong.com. Go to the church's website, usocc.org. We tell you exactly what we believe. It's there. Just take a little bit of time, go to the website, and then you'll know before throwing out slander and you don't believe this and you don't welcome these people, you don't welcome that. Anybody who knows me knows that I welcome every single person here. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're LGBT, if you're straight, I don't care. If you're agnostic, if you're pagan, if you're Wiccan, if you're Muslim, if you're atheist, every person is welcome here without judgment, without condemnation. You're all welcome. All I ask is that people be kind to one another. That's it. That is all. Just be kind. For those of you who are on Facebook, regrettably, I'm going to have to say goodnight to you. But tomorrow, I'm going to be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Miss Wilma. We'll have a good time, 8 to 8:30, having a great, we'll laugh, all this. And then at 8:30, we'll talk about your paranormal and demonology questions. So for those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, KGRADB, everyone else, remember I tell you, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. Remember, you're priceless. Never let anybody tell you or convince you otherwise. God bless everybody. The Sacred Division has been brought to you by Bishop Long's online paranormal course. Learn demonology, angelology, paranormal studies, and genealogy. It's 100% online, and you learn at your own pace. Please go to www.bishopjameslong.com and click on the paranormal course link.